All right, let's talk about something we all struggle with. You know the feeling, right? You've got a dozen tabs open, your phone is buzzing, and that to-do list just keeps getting longer. In a world that's practically built to shatter our attention, being able to truly focus feels like a superpower. But here's the thing, focus isn't some magic gift you're born with. It's a skill, it's a muscle you can train. So let's dive into the science of how you can build it.
Here's the game plan. We're going to start by busting a huge myth that's probably holding you back. Then, we'll take a look inside your brain to see how the actual switches for attention work. After that, we get super practical, with a simple exercise to train your focus. And then finally, we'll put together a toolkit of strategies you can literally start using today.
First things first. Let's talk about the biggest lie in the entire world of productivity, the myth of multitasking. We've been sold this idea that it's the secret to getting more done, but the science tells a completely different story.
So, I want you to be honest with yourself for a second. Do you wear that great multitasker badge with pride? Juggling emails, taking calls, all while trying to do your actual work? If that sounds like you, what we're about to cover might just blow your mind.
This right here gets to the heart of the problem. Multitasking feels productive. It feels like we're being super efficient. But what's really happening under the hood? Well, we're not doing multiple things at once. Our brain is just switching back and forth really fast, and every single one of those switches costs us something.
And that mental price, it actually has a name. It's called the switching cost. It's the little bit of mental energy and time you lose every single time you get distracted or try to juggle. It's why you can have a busy day and get to the end of it feeling completely drained, but with nothing to really show for it.
So how big is this cost? Well, check this out. One study found it takes, on average, 64 seconds to get your brain fully back on track after checking just one email. Let that sink in for a second. A single glance at your inbox costs you over a minute of peak focus. If you do that just 6 times in an hour, you've basically thrown away 10% of your hour just trying to get back to where you were. It's crazy.
This quote just nails it. Real focus isn't about adding more things to do. It's about elimination. It's about saying a powerful yes to one thing, which means you have to say no to literally everything else in that moment.
Okay, so if multitasking is a trap, how does real focus actually work? To get that, we need to pop the hood and look at the hardware, our brain. What's really going on in there when you try to concentrate? And more importantly, how can we get in the driver's seat?
Now, you've probably heard this before, right? Every moment changes you. Every new experience rewires your brain. It sounds really profound, but for the adult brain, it's just not true. Just passively experiencing something isn't enough to change your brain's wiring. You have to be intentional about it.
Think about it this way. From the day you're born up until you're about 25, your brain is a total plasticity machine. It's just soaking up everything, building connections, and learning is almost automatic. But after 25, that process gets gated. The brain decides it's more efficient to stick with what it knows. So to learn something new, to really change, you have to find a way to consciously open that gate.
So that's the big question, isn't it? If that gate to brain change is locked by default, what's the key? How do we tell our brain, hey, pay attention, this thing right here is important, you need to change for it? Well, the answer is a very specific chemical cocktail.
Turns out you need 3 key ingredients to unlock that gate. First, you need alertness. That's a shot of epinephrine, or adrenaline. It creates a sense of urgency. Second, you need a spotlight. This chemical, acetylcholine, basically shines a big spotlight on the exact brain cells you want to change, marking them for rewiring. And third, you need intention. That's you, consciously deciding this matters. Get all 3 of those things cooking, and that gate to learning swings wide open.
Okay, that's enough theory. Let's make this real. How in the world do you trigger that chemical cocktail whenever you want? It turns out you have a secret control panel for focus, and it's literally right on your face.
This is one of the most powerful and simple truths you can learn. Your mental focus goes wherever your visual focus goes. If you can learn to control your eyes, you can learn to control your mind. It's that direct.
So here's the cool science behind it. It's called vergence eye movement. When you narrow your gaze and stare at a single tiny point, your eyes physically turn slightly inward. That simple muscle movement sends a direct signal to your brain to release the exact chemicals we just talked about, the adrenaline and the acetylcholine that you need to open the gate for learning. It is a physical hack for a mental state.
So let's try it. Here's an exercise you can do anytime you need to get into the zone. Before you start a work block, just pick a tiny spot on your screen or on the wall. For 60 seconds, just stare at it. Your mind will wander, that's okay, but your only job is to keep bringing your eyes back to that one point. This isn't meditation. Think of it more like weightlifting for your brain. You are literally training your ability to turn on and sustain your focus.
Okay, so now you know how to warm up your focus muscle. Let's build out the rest of the toolkit. These are the strategies and the habits that will help you protect and direct that focus all day long.
And we're kind of coming full circle here, aren't we? Remember how focus is all about elimination? The absolute best focus strategies aren't about adding more hacks or apps, they're about what you can strategically remove from your life.
One of the best frameworks for this comes from Warren Buffett. The story goes, he had his pilot list out his top 25 career goals. Then, he told him to circle the 5 most important ones. And those 5 became his core focus. But here's the genius part. Buffett asked him what he was going to do with the other 20. And the pilot said, well, they're still important, so I'll work on them when I have time. And Buffett replied, no, you've got it all wrong. Everything you didn't circle just became your avoid at all cost list. They're the enemies of your success until the top 5 are done.
All right, let's stock your daily toolkit. First, the anchor task. Every day has one non-negotiable priority. Get it done. Second, manage your energy, not your time. Do your hardest work when you feel your best. Third, focus on the process. Learn to love the daily grind, not just fantasize about the finish line. And finally, work in 90-minute sprints. Our brains naturally work in these cycles, so lean into it with intense focus followed by a real break.
And don't sleep on the easy wins from changing your environment. Seriously, these are game changers. Put your phone in another room when you work. Out of sight, out of mind. Use full screen mode on your apps to kill the visual clutter. And this is a big one, do not check your email before noon. Start your day working on your agenda, not reacting to everyone else's.
And finally, I need you to remember this. All the hard work, all the focused effort during the day, that only creates the potential for your brain to change. The actual rewiring, the part where the learning gets locked in and becomes permanent, that happens when you sleep. Rest isn't a luxury, it's a non-negotiable part of the process. So if you only take one single thing away from our time together, please let it be this. Your ability to concentrate isn't fixed. It is a skill, it is a muscle, and you can absolutely train it to be stronger.
So I'll leave you with this one question. Now that you know all this, what is the one thing that you will give your undivided, unapologetic attention to today? What's worth your yes? And what are you finally going to say no to? Because that choice, that's where it all begins.